Hi, this is Phyllis and welcome back to my channel. Today's project is this CeedHenge bracelet. It's a stretchy bangle bracelet, and we will get our materials together and make our bracelet. So today we'll be using some 5mm RounDuo beads, and the color I'm using is White Shimmer. I'm using some 3x5mm 4-seed beads, and the color is Crystal Silver. I'm using some 2mm fire polish beads. These are True 2s, and the color is Magic Orchid. I'm using some 7/0 Matubo beads, and the color is Heliotrope. I'm using size 11 Demi rounds and in the antique silver, and size 11 Demi rounds in the jet opaque, and some stop beads. Using a big eye needle, some scissors, my bead mat of course, and 2 sizes of Stretch Magic, the 0.5mm Stretch Magic and the 0.7mm Stretch Magic. So gather your things, and all the information from where I purchased these beads is in the description box. You're going to need 12 lengths of the stretch cord. You need 6 strands of each, and I'd like to cut mine at least 3 inches longer than the length of my wrist. So I'm going to be cutting mine about 10 inches long, so you're going to need 6 each of whatever length you need for your bracelet. Before you begin working with any of your stretch wire, once you cut your length, you have to condition the wire in order to for maximum performance. And I know it's a little hard to see, but I've got a length of my 0.5mm stretch wire here, and in order to condition it, all you got to do is stretch it. Give it some nice stretches. This helps to get it prepared for going through, and I don't know if there's some chemical on here that releases to make the stretch wire adhere to itself, but you pull it out a few times, and if it's going to break, you want it to break now before you start working with your project. So that's just a tip that you should know. Just condition it, stretch it out, and then you can begin working on it. We're going to begin the project by making a stop bead. Now remember, you should be using your 0.7mm stretch cord to do this. This is how we're going to begin. And in order to add a stop bead, you get a bead that has a large enough hole to be able to hold your stretch wire in. So in this case, I'm using a size 8 here, and I'm going to pass my needle through that bead one time and the second time, and that should hold your cording. So to begin the project, you string on a RounDuo, a 4-seed, a RounDuo, a 4-seed, a RounDuo, a 4-seed, RounDuo, 4-seed, until you get to the length of your wrist that you need this bracelet. So I'm just going to do a couple more. I'm going to be making a tiny bracelet here, a RounDuo and a 4-seed, and you begin with a RounDuo bead and you end with a 4-seed. Make sure you check both holes of these beads before you get started, because double multi-hole beads sometimes have holes that get clogged up. And once you get to the end of what you're doing here, you can place another stop bead by doing the same thing we did when we started. So you take a stop bead and you pass your needle around that stop bead a couple of times. And that will be your first strand. Okay, we're moving on now to our second strand of stretch cord. You should still be using your 0.7 millimeter size, and I've already attached my stop bead to this end. The first thing we do is we're going to begin by stringing on a RounDuo bead, and we're going to bring that down to our stop bead. We're going to next go into, we're going to use the existing 4-seed bead that's there. We're not going to string these 4 seeds on as squares. We're going to string them on as diamonds. So my wire is coming out of a hole. So if it's coming out of this hole, I don't want to move into the next hole. I want to skip a hole and just go right across from it. So what's happening is we're going to take our first strand and we're going to identify the 4-seed bead that we want to move into. And so we see here that we have this 4-seed bead right here. My thread is coming out of this hole here. I'm going to skip a hole and I'm going to pass my needle through the hole across from it so that it sits in the bead, so that it'll make the 4-seed sit like a diamond. It's going to be a little wonky, but don't worry. We will get this thing together. Right now we are working on the inside of the project. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue doing our stringing. We're not adding anything, right? We're not adding any 4 seeds right now. We're just adding RounDuos. So you string on your next RounDuo and you go to your next 4 seed and you identify where your hole is exiting. You skip the hole that's next to it and you pass your needle through the next one, causing this to sit like a diamond. Again, string on a RounDuo and find your next 4 seed. You find where the hole, your thread is exiting, and you pass through the one that makes it sit like a diamond, and you keep doing that until you get to the end, and then you place a stop bead. I completed my second strand, and what we have right now is this, where with the 2 strands attached and your 2 RounDuos with a 4 seed in between. And you still have your RounDuo at the top and your 4 seed at the end. Moving on to our third strand, and still using your 0.7 millimeter stretch cord, I've already attached my stop bead. I'm going to pass my needle through the second hole of this RounDuo bead. This time, going down our third strand, we're only going to be adding our 4 seeds, and it doesn't matter what hole you pick up this time. You just string on your 4 seed and you pass your needle through the second hole of the next RounDuo bead, and you do that till you get to the end. And once you get to the end, you put on your stop bead. Our third strand is complete. I ended off by putting 4 seeds all the way down, and I ended with a 4 seed and a stop bead. And moving on to our fourth strand, we will now be using the fourth of our 0.7 millimeter stretch cord. I've already attached a stop bead, and we're going to string now our RounDuo beads. I'm going to start off by stringing a RounDuo bead, and we're going to now make diamonds out of this strand of 4 seeds. So my needle is exiting that hole there. We're going to skip a hole and we're going to pass over to the next for 4 seed, the hole in the 4 seed. String on another RounDuo bead and pass into the hole of the next 4 seed that makes your 4 seeds sit in a diamond shape. And of course you're going to do this all the way down, and when you get to the end you're going to pass a stop bead, and we'll come back and show you now how we're going to continue this bracelet. With the inside 4 strands done, now we are going to finish off the outsides, and we're still using our 0.7 millimeter stretch cord, and I've attached a stop bead already to my practice thread, and I'm going to pass, doesn't matter which end you work on, I'm going to pass my needle through the RounDuo bead. Here now I'm going to fill these spaces in with my Matubo beads, and I'm going to do this on both sides of the bracelet. So all you do is you string on your 7/0 bead and you pass it through. Continue on, you string on your 7/0 bead and pass it through, and you get all the way down to the end with that and put on another stop bead, and do that on both sides, and we will come back and do our top and bottom strands. The base of the bracelet is done. You should have on each side, the outsides now, you should have a Matubo bead between the outside RounDuos, and you should have ended with a Matubo bead, and that should be the same on each side. Now we're going to add our our inside embellishments. So I've got, and you should only be working now with your 0.5 millimeter stretch wire. So I have my next wire, and I already attached my stop bead. I'm going to string on, and I'm using Demi rounds right now. I'm going to use my antique silver Demi rounds, and I'm going to string on 3 of them. And I'm going to pass my needle through the diamond, the top hole here of the 4 seed bead. I know this is a stringy mess right now, but you'll find that this is necessary in order to get your bracelet right. So continuing, you string on 3 of your Demi rounds, you pass it through the next hole of the next 4 seed, and you do that all the way down. You're going to do that all the way down and tie your stop bead here right after you pass your needle through the last 4 seed, and we will get together once you finish doing the inside embellishment on this side. But only when you get to the end on this side over here, don't tie a stop bead. When you finish passing your 3 Demi beads through the top holes of these 4 seed beads. On this side, this is where we are going to begin tying all of these stretch cords together. So I will see you when you complete this side, but when you get to this side, don't tie a stop bead on. I strung my final inside embellishment on the bracelet, on my miniature bracelet, with the 0.5 millimeter stretch cord. I started here on this side with 3 size 11 demis, and I passed 3 size 11 demis through each of the 4 seed beads. And now I'm ready to tie off. This is going to be my first knot. I'm going to show you how to tie the knot. However, because we have so many threads here, so many cords, I don't think I'll be able to show this without it being so messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a practice piece to show you how to tie. And this is what you're going to do each time. You take your beads and you begin by tying an overhand knot, and you make yourself a loop. Pass your cord through the loop twice. And pull. And this could happen. You don't want to get your cords tangled. So let's try that again. And believe me, this is an occupational hazard. It can happen. And also, I didn't cut my cord long enough. All right, let's start again. Start by trying to tie our overhand knot. We'll pass the cord through twice. And if you have the dexterity, pull. Put your finger in there and pull. Then we do that again. You make the second part of your knot and you pass your cord through the loop twice. I could have had a longer piece of cord. That would have helped. And once you get that in there twice, you get your thread your cord right where you need it to be between your beads, and pull. And give it a nice tight tug, nice and tight, where that you can't stretch that anymore. But guess what? We're not done. Do that a third time. It's easier when you do it the third time because you have already solidified the spot where you need your knot. And this time, the last time you pull it, and it should go right there between where you need it to be, and pull it. Pull, pull, pull. And that is how you tie off. And get your scissors and cut close to the knot and pull this out a little bit so that your knot can hide into some of these beads. And that is how you that's how you tie your stretch cord. So on your piece, you begin tying these stretch cords right here at the second inside embellishment. You start doing the same thing how I just showed you. You start tying here at that place at the second embellishment that we made, and then move backwards or move over and do the first. Remove your stop beads and then tie this first inside embellishment that you did. And once you get that done, then you can start working on your outsides. Remove all of your stop beads and tie all of your stretch cords together and cut off all the excess. And once you have done that, then we will meet back here and we will finish off our bracelet. I don't want to confuse you. I don't want you to take off all of the stop beads all at the same time. I want you to take off the corresponding stop beads and tie your knots in those areas. For example, on my outside strand here, I've got this stop bead here, and I'm just going to trace it, and I'm going to go all the way around to this stop bead here, and I'm going to remove that one, and then I'm going to tie those two together, and then I'm going to move over and I'm going to do the next two. I just didn't want you to take off all of your stop beads all at the same time and lose all of your stringing, because this is a tedious project. Just wanted to clear that up. Thanks. At this point, we are pretending that I tied off all of my threads, all of my stretch cords on my bracelet. But this is my miniature and I didn't make it long enough. However, it's okay for what I need to do. So your inside should be done, and this is what we're going to do. You should have about 4 strands of your 0.5 millimeter stretch cord left, and we're going to do our inside embellishments now. I've already made a stop bead on my thread, and at this point what we're going to do is you're going to use your True 2s and your 2 millimeter fire polish, and you're going to string on 2 fire polish beads, and you're going to pass your stretch cord through the next top hole of the 4 seed bead. You're going to do that all the way around, and when you're done going all the way around, you're going to tie that stretch cord off, and you're going to repeat it. You're going to repeat that step on this side. Once you have repeated that step, you're going to take one of your 0.5 millimeter stretch cords, and you're going to place a stop bead on, and you're going to pass 4. You're going to go through one of the you're going to start at one of your Matubo beads, and you're going to string on 4 of your Demi beads, and you're going to go through the next Matubo, and that is how you're going to finish off the bracelet on both sides. You're going to do the top embellishments, and then you're going with your True 2 millimeter fire polish beads, and you're going to do the outside with your Demi rounds, and I used 4 Demi beads in between the Matubos, and then you're just going to do each strand and tie off the stretch cord as you do it, and then your bracelet should be done. And this is the completed bracelet. This is the outside of the bracelet, where you have your 2 millimeter fire polish beads going through each of the top holes of the 4 seed beads. And on the outsides, you've got your 4 Demi rounds in between the Matubo beads. If I turn it over on the inside, you've got your 3 Demi beads going through that top hole of your 4 seed bead, and that step I took just to make sure that the 4 seed beads don't lose their diamond formation. And that is our completed bracelet, and it just slips on and slips off with all of those strands of stretch cord there. I don't think you have to worry about them breaking off at all. The the criticism that I would make for myself is that I would make this shorter. I would do 2 less rows of the 2 less columns of these RounDuo beads. I just make it shorter because I mean, even though I like it, it just is still a little too big for my wrist the way I like it. Even if you make it a smaller size, it's going to fit right on, go right over your hand without a problem, because it is on stretch cord. So I hope you like this project, and I appreciate you hanging out with me to get it done. And so see you the next time, and thanks a lot for watching. So long.